You can draw conclusions from what you saw to recover the downed pilot, where several helicopters were involved, close air support, hundreds of boots on the ground, in and out quickly. So I think that would be the same session for Kharg Island. But the advantage of that is you have access from the water. So amphibious landing from a Marine Expeditionary Unit, which they've trained and prepared for, is right up their forte. So in this case, where you control the waterways and the airs, you can de-risk it considerably by informing. There's that handover between element of surprise and telling them you're coming to avoid as much bloodshed on both sides of the equation. And bombing Kharg Island is at risk because you put some of the facilities at risk. But if people are coming and you're going to give them the chance to surrender, leave the island, all those things present options. So there's a lot of ways to skin this cat, but the real objective at the end of the day is to minimize risk, not only to your own forces, but the people you're going to come in contact with, and minimize risk of doing damage to facilities on the island, which could be handed over to a government of Iran that is focused on supporting its people as opposed to proliferating the Islamic Revolution. So all those are factors that the military planner or the administration are considering if they're going to conduct this operation. If you're worried about protecting your people, want send the message to any military force on the island, you can strike them beforehand. But again, you risk doing damage to the facilities. So again, all of those options, I don't have the intelligence, and that's the key factor here. What intelligence that shows them the amount of military force that's on the island, what they've done to prepare for an invasion, are there booby traps, IEDs, those sort of things, and then their response being drones or missiles once forces are on the island. We need to bring to bear all our elements of power here, not just military, but economic and political. And in terms of the economic power, Kharg is somewhat neutralized by the blockade itself. So if they're refining moving oil, if they can't get it out anywhere, that's one means to stop it, a blockade, as opposed to taking down the island. Are they able to move oil overland, on trucks through Pakistan, Azerbaijan, or even Turkey? So you could go after those and shut down those borders, either in cooperation with those governments or by use of force, bombing those avenues of approach from the Iranian side to all those access points on that. And that's part of the advantage we really hold. The topography of Iran makes it very challenging for them. Not only can we take out major bridges, and as Secretary of War just said, dual-use facilities, they're producing either weapons or refining oil, you could do all that, but shutting down those avenues of access inside the country as well as externally, where they have to move it out of the country, would be on my list. And then third would be an air, shut down all their airflow so no one's coming in and out of the country. I'm a big proponent of raids, just like we did to recover the pilot. Go into Jask, raid the town, put boots on the ground, force everyone out of the city, shut it down, and leave, and make it a kill zone. So that topography plays. It's tough to get to those locations. There's only really one main avenue of approach, and you can make that the death road, so to speak, not dissimilar to what happened in Kuwait after the Iraqis tried to evacuate. There was one access road out of Kuwait going back to Iraq, and everything that traveled north on it was struck. So you could take those same sort of strategies where Qeshm is inside the Gulf, or at least at the very narrow point of the Straits of Hormuz, present risk. So you've talked about Kharg, you've talked about Qeshm, there's Jask, there's Bandar Abbas. There's a lot of places, a lot of options for the administration and the Department of War. It's how they're going to tie that together and what their strategy will be to ensure the free flow of commerce through the Straits of Hormuz. I think the only real end state to ensure stability and security in the region for decades to come, where we get over this American political cycles of 2 or 4 years based on elections, is a government of Iran that renounces the Islamic Revolution and the policies and programs that went with it, and instead are focused on the Iranian people, their well-being. And so that means no nuclear program. That means no funding of surrogates. That means free flow of commerce, unchallenged through the Straits of Hormuz. And then finally, making sure they're not going to murder their own people as they've done in thousands. So I think all of that, the nuke program, the straits, the missiles, the drones, the surrogates, and the people of Iran, I think that's the only way and the end state you need to achieve long-term stability and security in the region.